Right, we're coming straight back to the studio because we've got breaking news for you Spurs fans. I don't know what it is. Dharma Chef does. What is it?
Yeah, Mike, in the past few minutes, it has been confirmed to us that Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a deal with West Ham United for the signing of their forward, Mohammed Kudus. Remember, last week, they'd made a bid of around £50 million for Kudus. That was rejected out of hand by West Ham United. They said that's too low an offer. Tottenham Hotspur and West Ham United continued talks and they've come to an agreement. We think the fee is in the region of around £55 million. Personal terms not expected to be a problem on a long-term contract, and this one could accelerate really, really quickly now. We expect Kudus now to start his medical tomorrow ahead of completing that move to Tottenham Hotspur. And I think Tottenham Hotspur wanted to get this deal done very, very quickly, and it looks like they've done exactly that. Mohammed Kudus should become a Tottenham Hotspur player sooner rather than later. These two clubs, they don't do business with each other very, very often. The last time a West Ham United player was transferred from West Ham United to Tottenham Hotspur was way back in 2011. Scott Parker moved from West Ham United to Tottenham Hotspur. 14 years later, Mohammed Kudus is about to make that same move from West Ham to Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, there's been a big development in the last few minutes. Lyon were basically relegated from the French top division for breaking French football's financial rules. And that would mean that they would not be able to play in the Europa League. However, they have appealed to French football's watchdog. That appeal was heard this morning, and they've been successful in overturning their appeal. They've basically given assurances to the French FA that they have money in their account to be able to meet their obligations for the upcoming season. So obviously very, very good news for Lyon, who are one of the biggest clubs in France. But bad news for Crystal Palace, because if Lyon's relegation had been confirmed today, that would have guaranteed that Crystal Palace would be playing in the Europa League next season. As it is now, more uncertainty, because now we have to wait for UEFA to make a decision. Obviously, they've got these rules about third-party ownership. John Textor owned a share of Crystal Palace, which he's now agreed to sell. He owned a big stake in Lyon as well. He stepped back as the chairman of Lyon. He's resigned from the board. He's done everything possible to make sure that Lyon will play in the Europa League. It looks like he's been successful, but where does this leave Crystal Palace now? Crystal Palace have been in talks with UEFA. They have been saying to UEFA, we are not part of a multi-club ownership group. We have not broken any of your rules. We've never been in trouble with the English football authorities, with the European football authorities. We've done nothing wrong. We've earned our place in the Europa League by winning the FA Cup, our first major trophy. We were looking forward to playing in Europe for the first time. And now you're saying to us, you're not going to be able to play because John Textor used to own a share, when everybody in football knows that John Textor did not have a significant say in how Crystal Palace were run. Crystal Palace are effectively run by the executive chairman, Steve Parish. Everybody in football will tell you he does a great job. And everybody, well, nearly everybody in the Premier League would tell you that Crystal Palace deserve their place in the Europa League next season. But of course, now we have to wait and see what UEFA decide. It feels like they've been kicking the can down the road. They've been dragging their heels, waiting for the French football authorities maybe to help them out by relegating Lyon, but that hasn't happened. So the ball is back in UEFA's court, and they have to make a decision because there's so much uncertainty at Crystal Palace. The players return to pre-season training today. They don't know which combination of competitions they're going to be playing in next season. Will they be playing in the Europa? Will they be playing in the Conference League? The players who potentially could leave, how can Crystal Palace convince them to stay if they can't tell them which competitions they'll be playing in next season? When it comes to buying players, how can Crystal Palace convince players to move to Selhurst Park when they don't know which competitions they will be playing in next season? So really, UEFA have to make a decision, and they have to make a decision quickly. And I think if it goes against Crystal Palace will certainly appeal against any decision that UEFA make, if the decision is to take them out of the Europa League and put them in the Conference League.
This is Sport Lab, where we unpack the stories behind the breaking news. Today, Tottenham land a key target, keep tabs on another, and Crystal Palace face a bitter European twist. Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a deal to sign Mohammed Kudus from West Ham for £55 million. The 23-year-old Ghanaian international is expected to sign a 6-year contract, with his medical beginning Thursday. Kudus was one of West Ham's standout performers last season, scoring 13 goals and providing 6 assists across all competitions. This move signals intent from Ange Postecoglou, who views Kudus as a flexible attacking weapon, capable of playing centrally or out wide, and someone who can add creativity and pressing intensity to Spurs' front line. But Tottenham aren't done. Interest in Brentford's Yoane Wissa remains strong. The Congo forward was a winter window target and is still firmly on Spurs' radar. No formal contact has been made, but discussions around the framework of a deal have taken place. There is a catch. Brentford are unlikely to sanction the departures of both Wissa and Bryan Mbeumo, who is on Manchester United's wishlist. Should United move aggressively for Mbeumo, Spurs could have a clear path to Wissa. Meanwhile, Crystal Palace's Europa League dream is under threat, from Lyon's reprieve. Sky Sports News' Kaveh Solhekel explains that Palace's European status hinged on the potential relegation of Lyon due to financial breaches. But with French authorities opting not to drop the Ligue 1 giants, UEFA now faces a complex decision. As things stand, Nottingham Forest could be the unexpected beneficiaries, possibly leapfrogging Palace into the Europa League due to coefficient reshuffling. Palace are furious and, if demoted to the Conference League, are ready to launch an appeal, all the way to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. UEFA's club financial control body has yet to issue a final decision, leaving Palace and Forest in limbo. For Spurs, the summer is heating up fast. Kudus is nearly in, and Wissa could be next. For Palace, the wait is anything but comfortable, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This is Sport Lab, where transfers, politics, and football's off-pitch drama take center stage.